Hello, my third, fourth, and fifth graders. My name is Kathleen Bryant. I am the art teacher at Hill Country Elementary, and I wanted to do a little video on a porthole drawing. So if you don't know what a porthole is, it's the window on a boat or a large ship. If you've ever been on a cruise ship, they have portholes. Military ships have them. I think even submarines might have small ones. So they are circular. You're going to be working with circles today. I actually found these from pizzas. You can kind of see the grease on it. They come at the bottom of a frozen pizza. So if your family or whoever you're staying with has frozen pizzas and you eat them, you can ask them, say, hey, can I have the little cardboard piece that comes from the frozen pizzas? You can kind of see there's grease on it, and it's probably wet when you take it out because the pizzas are frozen, but I would just go ahead and take them out as soon as your family's done with it. Just go set it in another room and let it dry so that it doesn't get too greasy. If you don't have the pizza circles, you can use paper, construction paper, whatever you have at home. If you want to make it cardboard and you don't have the pizza boxes, you can grab any kind of cardboard you have. I found a Target box. Maybe your family has Amazon or Walmart, and then you can always make it from just regular cardboard if you want to. Now, if it's not already in a circular shape, you're gonna have to make your circle in there and cut it out. So I'm gonna be making mine on the back of this one. This is the first one I made, but you're gonna have to, if you have the regular cardboard, just cut it out of that and make it into a circle like this. And it can be any size. I wouldn't make it too small because then it's too hard to draw on. So the pizza box ones or the frozen pizza ones are the best. It's like the perfect little size. And then when you're done, you can take it and put it on your wall and you have a little porthole in your room. The second thing you're gonna need, besides pencils and markers and crayons or whatever you have at home, is circular things beside your cardboard that you're gonna make it on, because it's easier to make circles and to make these curved lines from circular things you have at home. So I was looking through lots of things. You can get Tupperware lids. If you have any kind of plastic containers, this is like a Lysol wipes container, makes a good circle. I used that for my son. Bowls, plates. Just remember, if you use glass, to be very careful and ask your parents first. You don't want to break anything. That wouldn't be good. So try to find some good circular things around your house. I'm sure you can find something that's circular. You've a lot of plastics, lids, those work perfect. Pots, pans, something like that. So once you have your cardboard circle or your paper circle, the first thing we're gonna do, we wanna make our porthole look 3D. So you can kind of see I have some shadowing. It's not just one circle and we made our little screws and we're done. So we kind of have some areas in here that are 3D. So I'm gonna go ahead and flip this one over. So now we have a fresh one. And then the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna find, and I already have my extra because I had 2 pizzas and I let my son draw on this one. And I'm gonna find that something that's almost the same size as your first cardboard. So this one's exactly the same size, so it's perfect. And we're gonna make, let me pick it up. We're gonna make this first circle right here. So this is gonna be the outside rim of the porthole. So you can see that we don't put it on the exact part, the exact circle, because then we would just be taking cardboard and covering it up. So we wanna make a little bit of a shadow here. So what we're gonna do is you'll take the closest thing you have, and then you're gonna line it up, and instead of making it go directly on top, I'm gonna move it off, and it's gonna make kind of like a little crescent moon on my blank cardboard right here. So I'm gonna move it just a little bit, not a lot. We just wanna have a little bit of a shadow. So this part right here should be hanging off the original. This is all my scrap one. I'm gonna take my pencil. I would do everything in pencil first. That way if you mess up, you can erase it. So we're gonna do that. So I have my little crescent. I'm gonna go over it in Sharpie. You can use any kind of marker. You can use a crayon. If you're using Sharpie, just be careful because it's permanent. I know my kiddos at Hill Country, they know you have to be very careful with Sharpie. If you don't use it correctly, then you don't use it again. So there's our first little crescent. That's kind of like our little shadow area that we created right here. So now we need to make the window. So you're gonna need a smaller circle because we're gonna do the inside of the window first, not this outside one. We're gonna do the inside. So we need a perfect little circle for that. So I found Tupperware lid. That works pretty good. It's smaller. You can see it's smaller than the first cardboard. And we want to line it, if you can see here, mine's right there. See, we have our shadow over here. So I'm just going to kind of place it and kind of center this right here to try to make this as even as possible. So I want all my edges to be pretty similar in size. If you don't get it perfect, that's okay. You just don't want to have it like way up here and then way down here. Just try to center it the best you can in here. So that looks pretty good. So I'm going to take my pencil, draw around this, and I have a little indent there, so I got to pick it up. Keep going around. Just going to slide where I have that little tab. Cover it up. So now I have that part. So I'm going to trace over that. Now, if you have the pizza boxes, you're going to see that they have little bridges, and it kind of makes it bumpy, which is okay. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just work with what you have. If you have regular paper or construction paper, it's not going to be so bumpy, so it won't be so bad. Okay. So now we have this ridge in here. So we want to do one more little shadow area. You can see it's right here. So I'm going to go ahead, because when you get too many lines, it starts to get confusing. So this is this first shadow area, and I'm going to draw some horizontal lines right here, just to kind of show you this is our shadow area. Because like I said, it kind of starts to get confusing when you have all these lines going on. Maybe this will kind of help if your eyes get confused. Okay, so we have our lines. So that's kind of like our little shadow area. So now we're gonna do one more little shadow area first. Well, let's go ahead and do our circles. Yeah, so we have the shadow, this is our ridge. Let's go ahead and do our circles. So the circles on here are screws to keep the windows in. So I'm gonna always keep this shadow on the left so I don't get confused on where I am. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start, and I'm gonna do a circle here for my screw just to even them out, and then I'll do one at the top. And then I'm gonna do one on each side just to keep them even. It's okay if they're not even. The circles aren't the best. And then I'm gonna fill in 1, 2, 3 more, 4 more. So we can go right there in the middle of these two. Let's see, that one's there. So about right here and about right there. And then take my Sharpie, go over my circles. They're gonna be bumpy too. If you have the cardboard, like I said, if you have the paper, shouldn't be bumpy. And if you don't wanna draw your circles, you could find maybe a marker cap or something to trace if you like really perfect circles. There's lots of circle stuff. Okay, and we want to put a little bit of shadow on our screws. So just since our shadow's already over here, we got to keep our shadows all on the same side. So I'm just going to darken it just a little bit on each left side. So just a tiny bit, not like halfway through your circle, but just make sure you can see that on the left side it's just a little bit darker. It's kind of that same crescent moon shape that we've been doing, just a little bit. There we go. Okay, so the last step for this is we want a little bit of a shadow here. So I'm gonna keep this here. I still have my shadow here, just like on this side. I did my screws on here. And then we're gonna go ahead and let's just add that shadow. So I'm gonna take that lid I had again, the one that was the same size as the middle, and I'm just gonna move it in away from that first line, just a tiny bit. Just so I have like this little crescent moon shape again. Just tiny, doesn't have to be as big as this one on the side. just so it gives us a little more 3D-ness in there. So I'll start about this screw right here, trace it over just a little bit, okay? So now I need to go over it again. See how it's kind of bumpy? That's okay. So we'll follow on your trace. And anytime you guys need to turn the video, pause it, whatever you need to do, okay? So what I want to do is kind of the same thing over here. We're going to make those lines again, just to kind of show that this is a shadow. So you can go in, put in your straight lines in there, just to kind of show, hey, this is 3D right here. It's not flat. It goes in, the window goes in a little bit. But these will be smaller because my shadow's a little bit smaller than on my first one. It's about the same. If you want to color these in with black, if you have a black crayon or pencil, you can do that as well. All right, so our last step is we're gonna add some lines. You can kind of see them on here around the ridges, so in between our screws. So you can take your pencil, or if you're confident, just take your marker. And we're gonna do them at the top, all the way around towards the inside of this circle, and then we're gonna do them on the outside. So another thing, if you wanna do, since this is all in black, you can take your Sharpie or your black crayon and you can go around the edge. That gives it more of a shadow, and that way you know, like, that's the edge of the porthole. It's not just the cardboard. And if you're doing it on paper, you should probably already have that line because you traced your circle all the way around. But if you're doing it on the cardboard, we kind of have to make another outline on there. So I'm just gonna keep going around till I hit my shadow. That kind of makes it pop out a little more and we can see the outside more instead of it just being that cardboard. So that there makes it a little more shadowy. All right, so I'm gonna start on the outside edge and you're just gonna kind of make, they don't have to be perfectly straight, maybe do one or two, but you're gonna follow close to that edge. So maybe this one has 3 since that one had 2. This is just gonna make it look more curved. Maybe you make it look shiny. If it's made of metal, it kind of gives it a shine. We'll just do one long one, short one, medium, just a few. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfectly rounded. You can make them kind of wiggly like that. And then now that we've done the outside, we're gonna go to the inside, do the same thing. So you're just following this curve you already have. So just kind of come up here. I would try to make these, see, I made these the same. On my next one, I'm gonna try to make it different. So this one's kind of medium. So I'm gonna make this one longer and then just make that like real short. Just so it's not exactly the same. Because then it kind of looks, it doesn't look as good. So I'll make this one longer. This one has 3, so I'm just gonna do 2. This one has 3, so I'll do 2. Make this one short since this one's long. Put one in the middle, make 3. Just something to kind of make it look different. You need some variety on there. All right, last thing. All right, so now I can move it over. I have my shadow. Like I said, if you have crayons, which is optional, you may not have any, you can always go in. Crayons are cool on the cardboard because it gives it kind of like a bumpy look. It's almost like a rubbing. You can go in and you can make this more shadowy if you want. If you have oil pastels, I wouldn't do marker. If you're gonna have marker only, I would just leave it those lines. But the crayon's real soft and oil pastel are real soft. So you can go in there, make it a little more shadowy if you want. I wouldn't try to cover up your lines, but just add a little more color just so it gives it a little more shadow. So you can go ahead and do that. So that is your porthole. If, like I said on my last one, I wanted a sunset. So I'm not gonna draw anything on this one because I want you guys to do this part, and then I want you to come up with something that you would wanna see out of your porthole. And so when you're done, like I said, with whatever you could put the Loch Ness Monster, you could put sharks jumping, dolphins, whatever you can think of. Maybe you're snorkeling in the water, maybe there's fish, maybe you're completely underwater and there's fish, or maybe coral reef, that would be pretty cool. Maybe there's a crab coming out of the water. Just try to use your imagination. Think of something you want to put in your porthole. Like I said, if I went too fast or you don't remember what we did, you can always stop. But I hope you have fun. And when you're done, you can send me pictures if you want, or put it up in your room and you have your own little porthole. It's like your room turned into a ship. Hope you guys are having fun. See you later.